Well, welcome to Unit 9. And in the words of the famous singer Barry Manilow, looks like we made it. So, the final unit in this course is called Controls. And through the reading and through the brief written lecture, you'll get a nice introduction to the various types of controls that industrial hygienists use. And in fact, it's very appropriate that the IH get involved with this idea of control, even though they are more well known for what they bring to the table in terms of evaluation. And remember, that means air sampling, that means exposure assessments, that means having lots of little toys to measure things in the air in terms of concentrations, and then looking at that data relative to what governing bodies like OSHA say is acceptable to expose someone to for, say, an 8-hour time-weighted average. So you kind of now should have a pretty good sense of the entire process from the very beginning when we start looking at work activities and what materials are going to be used, the physical processes that will be used to, say, generate an airborne contaminant, all the way to the other end where we've collected a sample, we've sent it to the lab, we've got our report, and we are giving it to the person or their boss. And typically within that report, you will see some recommendations. And those recommendations many times can be related to controls, which you will look at here in this last unit. So a very common phrase that we think of in terms of controls is what we call hierarchy of controls. And of course, simply put, hierarchy just means that there are some that are better than others. And so we walk you through each of the hierarchy of controls and try to point out examples of each of them. And one of the take-home messages right out of the start is that we typically have the best chance of controlling exposures the earlier on in the planning process that we are. And in fact, in a perfect world, whether I am a construction company, I am a chemical manufacturing company, I'm a company that makes widgets. If I am truly going to allow the industrial hygienist to apply all of their skills and knowledge and do that most effectively, I have to involve them as early on in the planning process as possible. One of the things we talk about in this unit is a sort of pre-project hazard checklist. So that would be a document that you would give to someone who came to you, the IH, and said, hey, I need your help identifying potential hazards, and I'd like to think about that and talk about it before we even start to buy equipment or think seriously about doing this particular work process. And so the IH would look at what is being planned. He or she would engage the individual in some questions and answers about what types of activities are you going to be doing, what kinds of hazardous materials are you going to be using, and so forth. So again, earlier on in the process, the better. And then as we proceed through a new activity being brought to life, if you will, we then focus in on evaluating and then based on the results of that evaluation, whether we need to apply this last concept, which would be control or controls. So enjoy the last unit. I'm very excited for you to take the information that you've learned in this course and start to apply it in your walk as a safety professional or whatever your lot in life is right now. And I hope that through this course of study that you have become interested enough in this field of industrial hygiene to want to learn more. And so whether that be through more study on your own, or maybe engaging an industrial hygienist that you know in conversations about things that are going on in your work environment, regardless, hopefully you're now better prepared to understand industrial hygiene as a safety professional. Thank you.